Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Morning, how are you?
So lately, of course, in the news, we've seen recently with the asylum seekers, the migrants, with the involvement with the New York City Police Department, and especially in Times Square, the issues have arisen that you have an executive order, you have a state of emergency. Will you commit to or consider issuing an executive order that will resist or take away the restraints that the NYPD and other law enforcement have to have collaboration with federal ICE so that those who commit crimes like that are actually notified at the federal level so they can look to remove them? What's your stance on that, and would you consider that?
Well, first, the incident that that we all are familiar with that took place in Manhattan was despicable. And the actions of what you saw there is not a reflection of the over 100,000 migrants and asylum seekers who are in our city.
So, Mr. Mayor, let me be clear. I'm not saying that the NYPD should notify on all asylum seekers. I understand that we have the sanctuary city law, but the idea of an executive order would be to suspend it for issues like the incident that happened in Times Square. And we're seeing that it's happening more and more because the next day there was another one. So there's a fine tuning that we can do. And I think there's an ability to do that. So that's my question for you is that something you will consider?
Well, first, I didn't think you were saying that it was for everyone, and you and I share the same vision. Those who come here should have the opportunity. There was a law that was passed by the city council that made the decision that we could not cooperate with ICE. It was a law. I cannot turn back that law. That's the city council's action, and the city council must make that decision. I believe if you create repeated felonies in our city, the federal government should do its job and have that individual deported from our city. There is a privilege to be here and participate in the American dream. I don't have the authority to do that. The city council would have to do that.
So I'm going to reiterate the executive order position here. You issued an executive order, declared a state of emergency in the city. You suspended the shelter laws, which were created by the city council. There's an ability to suspend laws that were created by the city council. That's what the idea of the executive order is, and I don't mean it in any disrespect that way.
No,
I'm
I don't think you take it as that.
trying to explain it to the audience and to the people that why I'm addressing this question. You have the ability to issue that executive order to suspend that law temporarily, whether it's up to 5 days or it can be extended at that time. Will you do that?
As I shared with you, as you saw, we had one case in Staten Island that the Staten Island judge made an opinion, a decision that we were overreaching our executive order authority. If I could have the authority, and my legal team tells me I have the authority to have cooperation with ICE for those who commit felony, dangerous crimes, that is something we would love to entertain and to look at.
So you mentioned the case in Staten Island.
Yes.
It automatically was appealed. Mm-hmm. And then fast forward, the same type of argument the city presented in Manhattan was actually decided in that case in Staten Island. So the ability for the city to address the migrant asylum crisis was given the opportunity with the decision in Staten Island. So why did the city appeal instead of allowing that decision to stand, and it would have helped in the right to shelter case? No, instead, it moved forward in Manhattan court.
No, it's interpreted that it may have helped. We don't believe it would have helped. Our goal is to ensure that the right to shelter ruling is not dealing with the migrant and asylum seeker crisis. That's two different incidents. The right to shelter that was put in place over 40 years ago was dealing with those New Yorkers that needed shelter, those few men. It did not deal with a migrant and asylum crisis. And that is what we want to get classified in the court, and that is what we are fighting for right now.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So just to be clear, I think an executive order allowing ICE to be notified by the NYPD will restore public safety and will also build morale in the NYPD, because right now I think there's low morale because of that.
Thank you, Assemblymember Reilly.